so much, Laura. You're absolutely amazing. I always love hearing you. And guys, Les, you can start the recording now again, honey, if you can. I would really appreciate it. But look, guys, I want to let you know who this man is. First of all, I remember first hearing John Lavin, first hearing of him in the Big Hitters Call. And guys, this is where the best of the best get on there. And I heard this guy, I'm like, dude, this guy is amazing. I couldn't wait to meet him. And I don't know if you remember this, John, but you made me feel so darn special. It made me feel so darn special that you had the PFN show that day and you mentioned me. I know you probably forgot, but you mentioned me like, dude, there's this young couple that's coming up. You watch out for them. And we were brand new. And you said that, and man, you lit me up. Our team got so darn excited, like, what? John Lavin mentioned our coaches, and it meant the world. I remember, like it was yesterday, I was field training this young man, Camarado, and he just had a surgery. And I'm so proud of this guy because he chose not to just live off the system, Franny. And he's like, no, I didn't come to this country just to be on my back and let the government take care of me. I'm going to build my business. I remember I was field training Camarado at the time, and he's like, man, coach, this guy, John Lavin, he just, I'm like, bro, I know him. He's like, coach, you don't know John Lavin. I'm like, I know John Lavin. And I called John, I'm like, John, tell this guy I know you. He's like, who's this? I'm like, Mario Arizon, we just talked yesterday. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. How'd you get my number? I'm like, you sucker. Dude, he was like just one of the guys, just amazing. But guys, look at this. Unbelievable humble man. 42 years of experience in this business. 42 years. You ain't know, like guys, 42 years of experience. Look at this, guys. 13 first generation RVPs. 80 regional vice presidents, $1 million earner. He has a $1 million earner in his hierarchy. All right, guys, 2 of them that make $800,000 a year and a bunch of them that make $300,000 a year. Guys, this is crazy. Their average premium right now is around 700,000 in premium and 600 recruits, guys, and $5 million a month in investments. That's who's teaching you, not just any ordinary guy, the best of the best. So with that, guys, man, let's give a big welcome to, I would pay attention, guys. I will have your notes. I would be participating. I will save all questions to the end because this training is going to be life-changing. Guys, this is huge. To my great friend, the amazing John Lavin. Let it rip, John.
There we go. Can you hear me? There we go. Hi, everybody. Boy, this is so exciting. And, Mario, Mario just gave you great training on how to introduce somebody and make them feel special. So that's the training that you just got there. But Mario and Franny and what they're doing, the entire hierarchy and your guys' numbers are just mind-boggling, And so I'm so excited to do this with you because truly Mario and Franny have become some of my dearest friends and young people in the business that I just respect their hard work, their effort, their professionalism. They came and did a school. Mario came with the Masouds. Tony Manal came and did a school for us in Tampa and just like lit it up. The professionalism was just amazing. And then we had a chance to have Mario do something on the LFIC meeting. He did his orientation. And now we've taken that orientation, which is it was him teaching how to do one. We're using it. We used it the last 2 weeks as orientation. We've been using it in training because it overcomes so many objections. And so I just want to thank you guys for teaching the company how to put protective wrappers on new recruits who get blown out before they even get started because of some knucklehead who's lying to them. And that's really what I want to talk to you all about today. I want to really dig in with you on what caused me to do well in the business, and that was I got really good at the crusade. I got really good at insurance. I got pretty good at investments. I never got great at investment. I got good enough at investments that if somebody was interested in the investment part of our business, they were comfortable with me. They didn't feel like I was just a recruiter premium guy, but that I could relate to them and that I did the full job and that I would expose them to the information. So as a result, my hierarchy looks very much like Primerica. I have people that are very recruiting and premium oriented and don't do so well in the investments, and I work my tail off every day to try to help them get better at that. Then I've got people that are like so securities oriented, they hardly ever do any insurance. And then I have the balanced team, the people that I really admire the most, people that do it all. And I know that's the commitment of Mario and Franny, is that you guys do it all. That you don't that you do the full job for the client. So so we're gonna talk about today life insurance. Okay,
So you say you're okay on investments, and you guys just $5 million a month. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, I make $300,000 a year in investments. Yeah, $300,000. I'm okay. The reason I say I'm okay, I'm a recruiter. I love to recruit, but I love the insurance part. I mean, you'll see today, I have a deep conviction for what we do because I understand it inside and out. And my goal today with you is to teach you all that. But the reality is that someday they're going to live. Most people are going to live. There's not going to be a death benefit. So we have an obligation and a responsibility to help people invest. And, I did a brochure for the company. I'll show it to you all at the end on the Roth IRA. And all of you need to become masters. I'm going to give you just a couple tips today. And you don't even need to be licensed to have some of these conversations. But if you start having conversations with people about Roth IRAs, they're going to want one from you. And eventually you're going to say, man, I need to get my license, like right away. And so we're really good, Mario, at recruiting and field training and getting investments through that process. That's the way I always did it. I was never a guy out there prospecting for 401k plans or anything like that. And now a lot of people do. Rick Miller, he's got a lot of people on his team that do that. So my attitude is, however you can get in front of people, I don't care. But you flat out better know what you're doing when you get there. And if you don't, then you take somebody with you who does. Or if you get questions that you don't know answers to, that you're straight with people and say, man, I'm pretty new and those are really good questions and I need to get back with you and I need to really do some analysis work and have the experts at my office help me, and then I'll get back with you with a game plan. And so that's the fun thing about our business, is you don't have to be an expert right now to get going, but you've got to have confidence and belief that what we're doing is right, and it's right 100% of the time. And when I refer to insurance agents as knuckleheads, I probably shouldn't do that, but because I think a lot of the agents that are selling the products they sell are just doing what they're trained to do. And I guess my attitude is they're either stupid or they don't. How can you just sell something just to sell it? How can you not know what the alternatives are? How can you have not run the math? So I think they're either naive and kind of new, or they're crooks. I mean, that's kind of like where I think people are. And why I say that is it's math, guys and gals. This is math, and math is a great line from Shane Rudin, and I use this line a lot. So when it comes to life insurance is a math problem, and math is science, and science is fact. And that's what we're going to discuss. We're not going to talk about a lot of other stuff. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today, the facts. Now, this is being recorded. I'll send this deck to Mario after, so he'll have it. You guys will have it. You'll be able to study it. I've got I'm going to do my best in 40 minutes to get through this stuff. So now, some of it, I will tell you, comes from, and by the way, Laura, I don't know if Laura's still on. She's amazing. She was at the Tampa event, or I met her at some big event somewhere. I got to get her on to do what she did for you guys today. That was awesome. She's the best there is at PFSU, I think. So, I'm going to do my best to get through this, but a lot of this presentation came from the new life training guys that are out there. I forget their name. What are they called? Life specialists, okay? And they when I first heard about them, I said, we don't really need that. We teach that. And then after I got to know my guy, I had him come and do a seminar. I said, these guys are awesome. I mean, not only do they understand our products inside and out, they understand how to destroy the competition. And so you all can call. I don't know where you live right now, but I guarantee you there's a person in Primerica at the home office waiting to help you, okay? And so some of this presentation actually came from there. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let me pull this up, and I'll share. Let's see if I can do this. All right, so can you all see my screen? Yeah, okay. So let's kind of dig in. We're going to talk about, we're talking about universal life today. Actually, we're going to talk the most about indexed universal life, but to talk about index UL, which is what WFG sells, and all these all these PHPs, and all these copycats. What they all sell, indexed UL. I mean, that's their thing. How much money you can make selling indexed UL. If you go on YouTube, you can see guys are out there telling you how great it is and whatnot. I'm going to break it down for you so that you understand the math behind it, not the rhetoric, not the sales pitch. The sales pitch can be made to sound awesome. So we got to get past that. Hold 1 second. I apologize.
Guys, still be getting your teammates on. This is a great opportunity.
I got a family. By the way, that background is my home in Margate, New Jersey. So it's a real background, but that's not what it's a picture of my sunset. So we moved to.
I was going to say that, John. I remember you calling me FaceTime and you're like, Mario, you got to come visit us.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. It's echoing for whatever reason. Weird.
What? I am?
Maybe you have another device on. Oh, when I speak? That's weird. Okay.
Is mine bad?
No, yours is good.
Okay.
When I speak, I hear it weird.
Okay.
Good. Go for it.
So let's kind of break this down and kind of dig in. You want to understand a little bit about, and for those of you that are unlicensed, this is going to be great because now if you answer the way I tell you, you're going to flunk. Okay, you have to answer the way that the industry who writes the tests wants you to answer. But if you understand it, it's going to be so much easier in your mind as you're answering the questions to know, what are they asking for? How does this really work? And by the way, I would say today's training is going to be about as technical as you can get. All right, so don't fog out. Pay attention. You'll be able to watch this video over and over and over again. I'll come back and do another one for you. But just understand, whole life when I started, all there was whole life. Okay, I was 23, and I got immediately bombarded by some whole life agents. And my one buddy went to interview with Northwestern Mutual, who I had recruited into Primerica, and so I went with him to protect him, like I knew something. And man, I was so confused when I was done, but what I did is I asked that agent, and then you can ask any agent, any whole life indexed UL or UL agent, just, hey, give me a proposal of what you would recommend I own. You guys want to get good at, you want to gather the propaganda they use to sell. And then you can just run a simple example. I'm going to show you how to do that. But that's all. I learned this because when I started, everybody owned whole life, and all the companies had direct sales forces that were selling in homes. And so we learned that. Then Universal Life came out. E.F. Hutton was the first company to come out with Universal Life. And then indexed UL was kind of the answer to everything recently, and it is the craze right now out there. The industry just loves selling it because it's so damn deceptive, and it can be made to sound really good, especially right now with the market down and the potential for it to go down further. These agents are coming out of the woodwork, and they are selling everyone on, you can't afford to lose your money. They're using scare tactics when the fact, because the market's going to go down and you're going to lose your money, and this index UL is so great because you can't lose any money, but you get to participate when it's good. And so when you minimize and remove all the bad years, it's so easy to make money. This is unbelievable. You accumulate it tax deferred. You could pull it out tax free at the end. There's no, you can get your money out tax free. For just a little bit of money put in, you can get this big death benefit. God forbid you die. So this is like unbelievable asset class. This is what all the wealthy people are doing. That's their line. That's how they sell it. And if you don't know what questions to ask, that sounds pretty good. Pay a little premium. I get a big death benefit from my family to create an estate. That's awesome. I can accumulate money tax deferred. I don't ever have to worry about any losses in the market because it protects on downside, gives me upside. I get to be in the S&P 500 to the good. There is a cap on it, but I get most of the participation. If I need money, I could borrow it out with no questions. I could pay myself back or it's unbelievable, right? So they make it sound really, really good, all right? So, but now we're gonna dig in. Now, when I work with clients, especially when I work with agents I met agents who sell whole life, man, then they start in with their how good it is. I say stop, please do not even start with me, okay? Because how is it possible? See, so here's the question I always ask. Let me kind of just look at you all real quick here. I'm going to go back to this in a minute. here's the question I always ask people. I want you to really think about this for a minute. How could this product, Whole Life UL or Indexed UL, be so good? Let's look at what happens when you own one of these and you send your premiums to the company. Let's just say you had a $100,000 policy with New York Life, Whole Life, $100,000 policy, $100 a month. Let's say you're 30 years old. Let's just use that example. That's about what it would be, okay? Now, when you send, here's what I ask them every time. So when the client sends the $100 to New York Life and the money arrives at the home office, what does New York Life do with the money? What does New York Life do with the money? I said, well, they invest it. They go, no, here's what they do. First thing they do is they peel enough of the money off of the $100 to cover the risk of someone dying at age 30. If they had to pay that $100,000, it's called mortality expense, okay? It's called actuarial science. They know that a certain number of people die at a particular age. So they take enough of the 100 to cover that risk, okay? The rest goes into their general investment account. And they invest that. They invest it. Where do they invest it? Well, they invest it in stocks, and they invest it in bonds, and they invested in government securities, and they invested in real estate. Maybe some of them today are putting a little of it in crypto. I don't know. Down, right? But they invest it. Real estate. They invest it. So what do? With the money, they buy term insurance, the risk, and they invest the rest, the difference. They're buying term and investing the difference. Now, how are they going to give you more? What business are they in? What's their business? Isn't it to make money? Is their business to make a profit? Yeah. How are they going to pay you more than what they're making? How are they going to give you something better than what they're doing? They have to make money. Explain that to me. And that's the end of it. Look, the bottom line is they are selling these products with two goals in mind. Can I get an agent to sell it, and can I get a client to buy it? And can I get the use of more of your money than just the risk, just the insurance risk? That's what the insurance company's thinking. How do we get more of your money other than the risk so that now we have more money to invest and use with the promise of someday giving it back to you in the future? And if we can make it, disguise it enough and complicate it enough, people will buy it, and if we pay the agents enough, they will sell it. Okay, so that's what we're battling against, right? But we have the math. The math is what we've got on our side. All right, so let's kind of go back here. Let's see if I can get back to. All right, here we go. So let's go back now and let's look at cash value insurance. So I'm starting with this, and then I'll get to the index. Now I'm going to move pretty quick, but there'll be part of this that I slow down on. But this is just a simple scenario, and I've been using this example forever. Little $25,000 whole life policy, 27-year-old, $40 a month. You can see the facts there, all right? So here's a typical graphic of a whole life policy. And what you need to understand about whole life is, what you need to understand about life insurance is all of it's term insurance. All life insurance is term insurance. The question is, where do you want to save your money? So I'll make that kind of statement to you. I say, look, whole life, it's all term insurance. The question is, where do you want to save your money? See, whole life is nothing more than a decreasing term insurance policy with an increasing savings account. And we look at the graph here for a minute, and you're paying your $480 a month, and what happens is if you die, the family gets $25,000. Well, by the time you reach 100 years old, the cash value is equal to the face amount. It's called it endows. And so now there's $25,000 in cash value. Well, at age 65 here, there's going to be roughly half of the face amount. So we're going to say, let's say $15,000. So if you're out here and you got $15,000 built up, and you die, the family gets $25,000. So if you die and you got $15,000 in your savings, you got $25,000 face amount. I draw this out. I say you got $25,000 face amount, you got $15,000 cash value. I put a line under it and saying you die. What's the family get? And they go $40,000. Said you'd think they'd get $40,000, but the cash value is part of the death benefit. And so what's happening with this policy is you're becoming a partner with the life insurance company. And you're overpaying in the early years to pay lower in the later years. And that overpayment is going into a savings account, like a reserve, so that later when you're only paying $480 and it should cost $2,000, there's money there to cover it. And that's how universal life works as well. So I'm just going to go a little. So once I know somebody has a whole life policy, whole life only, I do funny banking. So funny banking is something I've just done forever. I've just said, hey, let's just say you got a letter. So anytime you find out anybody has whole life, by the way, you do not use this example on indexed UL or UL or variable. This example works with whole life. Please don't use funny banking with indexed UL. I'll show you what to do with that, all right? But let's say you got home from work and there was a letter in the mail and they said, look, we need you to assign this letter and send it back to us. We're changing the rules in your savings account. And the new rules said you're going to have a zero balance for 2 to 3 years. You're going to earn 1 to 3% on your money. If you need it, we'll let you borrow it. From this point forward, you have to actually pay us interest to borrow it, 5 to 8. We can hold the money up to 6 months. There's a clause in the policy. And if you die, we don't want anybody bickering and quarreling over the money, so we're just going to keep it, okay? So just sign right there, and we'll make those changes to your plan, okay? So obviously, so fairly ridiculous. So would you sign that letter? No, okay? So so now there's some questions. Would anyone knowingly save their money? Would you knowingly save your money in an account like this? No? And by the way, and I ask them, and what's the key word there? Knowing. You wouldn't knowingly do that. If you had your money, would you want to know? Yeah. And if your friends and family had money in a place that worked like that, would you want them to know? And if you found out you had your money in a place like that, you could get it out, would you? Okay. Well, what you need to understand is there's 400 billion in accounts like this, and every time we replace one, the life insurance industry writes 40 new ones. So when you told me you own whole life, and then you got your policy out and said whole life, that example that I just gave you is exactly the rules, the guaranteed rules in your insurance policy. And then I'll go through it and point it out. Said, so the bad news is that's how your policy works, right? But I don't want you to feel bad because 80% of all the insurance sold works like this, all right? And so let me show you how it's sold to you. And then I use see, when you attack a UL, indexed UL, and whole life, and you attack it, without having seen it, without having educated, you're offending. You're instantly offending. You're instantly not creating a friend. You're creating an enemy. They're paying a lot of money every month. They don't really understand how it works, but they trusted and they're hoping it works. And now you just say it's a ripoff, and they look at you like, so they're resisting you before you get started. So when I do funny banks, so if they have whole life, I always ask a question, whole life UL index. Why did you buy this? What was your purpose? And then I help them. Was it for the insurance, the protection of your family? Was it for the savings, the accumulation of money? Or was it for a combination of both things? And I let them tell me, okay? And I said, well, I want to congratulate you for owning it because a lot of people don't even have aren't even protecting their family, okay? But then I start to explore, if it's whole life, I said, let me just do a little story with you. I do funny banking. And then I do the refrigerator to kind of let them off the ledge. I mean, they are ready to commit suicide right now. They're a little embarrassed and a little mad. I said, look, I want you to understand how and why you bought this. You were, and I'll use this example. Let's say you were looking to buy a refrigerator, and one was $2,000, the other was $1,000, and they were identical. Which one would you take? Right? So obviously you'd take A. So another rule, they both have a 36-year guarantee on them. Same refrigerator, both have a guarantee. One's $2,000, one's $1,000. Which one do you take down? They go, well, B. They go B, the $1,000 one. Right? So I showed them both times. They say one's $2,000, one's $1,000. If that's all you knew, which would you pick? They're the same. B. They both have a 36-year guarantee. Which would you pick? B. Okay, new rule. At the end of the 36 years, refrigerator company A gives you back $4,000, doubles your money. B gives you nothing. So now based on that new information, now which one would you pick? And most people say, well, I would take A. Now I let them know, look, if you took A and I'm selling refrigerators, I'm very excited right now. Here's why. I'm gonna buy B. I'm actually gonna sell. I'm gonna buy B for $1,000. I'm gonna sell to you for two. So I'm gonna have $1,000, And at 12%, with the rule of 72, the money doubles every 6 years. In 36 years, I've got 64 grand. I owe you 4. I give you your 4 back. I keep 60. You're happy with your 4. I'm happy with my 60. Who's happier? They go, oh, they laugh. They go, so, well, yeah. So here's my question for you. If I'd ever boxed this in and originally showed you buy B and invest the difference in C, would you have ever picked A? If I had shown you this originally, that you could buy B and invest the difference and have 64,000 or 60,000 profit, would you have ever picked A? And they go, no. Why did you? And they go, well, and I said, we gotta get my money. I said, no, you did it because it looked good. It looked better. Was it better? No, but it looked it, didn't it? And this is how the insurance agent, see, A is a whole life policy, and B is term insurance and invest the difference. And so when the whole life agent sells it to you, they say, look, whole life is great because it's permanent. You can build equity and you can borrow. You can get your money back. You don't have to die to win, right? It's free at the end because you get your money back doubled, right? You don't need to die to win. And would you rather own or rent? I mean, would you rather own a home or rent a home? So whole life is like owning. Term is like renting because at the end you have nothing, right? And that's what they say. They say to you, have you ever heard anything like that? And it says, so whole life agent says term's bad. They call it temporary. They say it pays you only if you die. There's no equity. It's like renting. It's like throwing your money down the toilet. Okay? So with the whole life, you're getting the right thing because it's like owning. Okay? So that's how it's sold. Now we go back and we take a look at this quickly, this whole life policy, and I want to kind of give you the real math behind it. Let's take a look at the math now. Now, I learned this when I was 23, and I read a book called What's Wrong with Your Life Insurance by Norman Dacey. Norman Dacey. If any of you can go get old, it's hard to even find the book, okay? But I started reading and learning the math behind this. So let's look at the math behind this. If you borrow money, you have to pay interest. So let's say you're paying 8% on it. You borrow 10 grand out at age 65. You're paying 800 in interest, okay? If you die, the family is going to get 15,000. So here's what happens. If you die at 65, so that's the thing. If you borrow money, it reduces your death benefit. You got that. Next thing. If you die at age 65, your family gets 25,000, but 12,500 came from the cash value. And it was built by the overpayments. And they use that to pay the death claim. They take your 12,500, they add their 12,500 to pay your family 25 grand. Okay? So let's look at this. The agents will tell you, look, whole life, UL, index is great because the premiums are level. Term insurance gets too expensive. Now, earlier I told you all insurance is term insurance. Doesn't matter. Somehow, some way, they're covering the expense of people that die. But take a look at this. At age 25, if you want to look at insurance like you look at maybe buying apples. If you buy apples, you buy them at the grocery store by the what? What's the unit that they use? Pounds, right? Well, in life insurance, you pay per thousand. What's $1,000 of risk cost at a particular age? Well, at age 25, if I divide 25 into the premium, I get $19.20 a thousand. So I've got 25,000, and I'm going to divide the 25 into the 480, and I'm going to get $19 a thousand. By the way, if you're lost, just hang in with me. I remember seeing this like 5 times before I understood what they were saying. But I want you just to think about this. If you're buying this plan at age 27, what does $1,000 of insurance cost? And it costs $19.20. So that's why it turned out to be $480 a year. Now at age 65, the risk to the company is only $12,500, but you're still paying $480. So now the cost per thousand is $38.40. The cost goes up. Why? Well, you're buying decreasing term with an increasing savings account. All right? Now I'm going to give you one more. Now this is where what I'm going to show you right now is what sold me. This was it. Once I got this piece, this was back in the day, I got it. I understood it. And here's what we had to look at. We had to look at something else, and that was loss of interest. Loss of the use of the money. That 12,500 is locked up in this policy. So if they're paying you 3, quote 3%, and you could have gotten 8, you've lost 5% by it sitting there. So now you paid $480 in premium, and you lost $625 in opportunity for it to be somewhere else. So it really cost you $1,100, real cost, $1,100 divided by $12,500. This guy at age 65 is paying $88 per thousand, real cost. So I want you all to get this. So I'd open it up for questions, but I just don't have time. But I want you all to understand, you've got to look at what's the loss of use of the money. If I could use it somewhere else and make more, I'm losing. Okay? That's what the insurance company's betting you'll do. And they're using that money and they're investing it and they're taking that profit. That's how they make the money. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the more important stuff now today. Let's say got 30 minutes, perfect. So the industry, whole life was the big one. That's when we were founded, and we were founded to teach what I just showed you. So for like 15 years, that was when you had whole life, that was the presentation you got, okay? Then I would show you what the term would be. I'd invest the difference in a mutual fund. We'd run a hypo, and I'd show you, and that's how we replaced it all the time, over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Because the agents can't argue with you. If you know that stuff, they can't argue. There's no argument. It's math. Math is science, science fact, all right? Then universal life came, then variable universal. Now, what was the difference? Variable universal life came along because of us, really, selling term insurance and mutual funds. The industry wanted to create a product that was term insurance and mutual funds in one contract with benefits over what we had. And their benefit was you could accumulate the money tax deferred, and you could withdraw the money tax-free. And with all these policies, when they talk about pulling money out tax-free, they're talking about borrowing money. They're talking now in universal life, you can pull out your cost basis. So in universal life, you can always pull out what you put in first with no, then the rest over and above that, you have to borrow, okay? Well, when you borrow it, they credit you interest back internally like it's still there, so they call that a wash. And they say, yeah, you're borrowing, but we're crediting you back, so you're really not paying any interest. And loans are not taxable. You don't pay taxes on loans. It's not income. So you borrowed it. So there's the loophole they use. And once again, they say that's a wash because we credit you back what you're paying out at. It's a wash. Okay? Now, if you don't know what questions to ask, you go, oh, it's a wash. I mean, you're like, okay. But variable life was a mutual fund type. It was separate accounts, but like mutual funds in that product. I'm going to show you in a moment. Then they had return of premium term. That was pretty much like my refrigerator story. Then the UL agents went back and started selling whole life again. Okay, and then 2020 indexed UL came out. Now, indexed UL is designed specifically to let you participate in the market when it's good and protect you when it's bad. Okay, that's how it's sold. All right, now I'm not going to get into all this with you, but by term invested difference, just remember this: KISS. We always know that as keep it simple, stupid. That's not what it means. It means keep insurance separate from savings. Okay, that's what KISS means here. All right. So our idea is you buy your insurance and you invest your money elsewhere. Our idea is that when you've got enough money accumulated, that becomes your life insurance. That if you've got $500 or $1 million saved and no insurance and you die, what's the family get? They get $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million. Do they care where it comes from? Have you ever been at a funeral and heard the people, the family bitching and moaning that the guy left me $1 million and none of it was life insurance? Have you ever heard that? Our idea is protect your family, like rent a pile of money until you can build your own pile. Okay? You guys are pros at that, right? So that's term insurance. Plus, you can invest based on your risk tolerance. And then with the UL, they tie it together. The death benefit and the investments are the same. It's wrapped together. The flexibility options are different. You have to pay money. But the main thing, you never have control of both, and there's lots of fees. So I'm just going to kind of move past this and get into it. So let's look at universal life, the two components. It's got insurance and savings bundled together. So you want to learn to do that. The whole life cash value insurance is insurance, life insurance, and savings bundled together. Okay? We believe if you unbundle them, you have control. All right? And then you beat the insurance company at their game. Because we're going to teach you to do with your money what they want to do with your money, which is use it to make money. All right? So when we look at universal life, you guys got to understand it's really annual renewable term with a savings account. Now, there's two death benefits, and by the way, I'm getting technical with you, but I want you to know there's usually two types of death benefits, usually A and B. Option A, if you die with universal life, you get the face amount and the savings. That's why the funny banking doesn't work there. Option A, wrong, sorry. Option A is you get the face amount, the savings is part of the death benefit in A. Option B is you get the insurance, the face amount, and the savings, okay? So how do they do that? What's the difference in that? So we're gonna dig in. Understand, if you're getting your insurance and savings, B, you're buying annual renewable term, and the cost of insurance in that contract is getting more expensive every year. Why is the insurance getting more expensive every year? Because as you get older, your chances of dying are greater every year. So they charge more every year. So it goes up every year. So if you're paying $1,000 a year into it, and maybe in the beginning you're paying $1,000, but by age 50 you're paying $3 $1,000. But since you have an option B, out of your premium, they're taking more and more money to buy the insurance. All right, so we're gonna look at that. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of move on, just so you all see that. Now with indexed UL, different than UL. With UL, they usually the interest that's credited to the universal life, there's a guaranteed rate, usually around 3%, and there's a current rate that's usually tied to a guaranteed investment of some sort, like a treasury bill, okay? So usually it's very low, all right? It's been very, very low. And because it was so low, they came out with this IUL, and now the investment is tracked to an index, and I'll show you that in a moment. It's tied to like the S&P 500 index, okay? And with VUL, variable, it's tied to sub-accounts that are like mutual funds. Like funds. They're not mutual funds, but they're like mutual funds, all right? So those are the investments. You've got minimum premiums. The reason it's called flexible premium adjustable life, for those of you that are testing, flexible premium adjustable life means the premiums are flexible and the life insurance is adjustable. That's what it means, all right? So you got minimum premiums and you got target premiums. Minimum premiums turn these universal life contracts into term insurance. Because you could buy one of these things and just pay the minimum, and it's really like a level term. It's not designed to save money. So that's the other thing you want to be aware of. Not all these contracts are sold as savings accounts. Some of them are sold as term insurance. So you want to look at that and understand, and there are guarantees in it. Some of them are pretty competitive, okay? Because the reserving requirements are different on UL than term. Target premium, that's what they say. If you do this, here's what's going to happen. That's what they want you to do, all right? Option A, B, I went through that with you. All right, so let me just take a breath for a minute. And Mary, you have any comments so far? Just because I'm getting ready now to really show how this works in the last few minutes.
Absolutely, guys. By the way, with all of this, you guys got to understand that the first time, exactly what John said, like you're not going to get all of it, but get as much as you can. That's why we're going to get you the replay and the PowerPoint where you can go over it. Because once you master this, if you have to watch this 5, 10 times, so be it. You'll know more than 99% of the people out there even selling this, guys, or that have this. So what did I give you? It gives you an S. How can I apply this? Asking yourself the right questions, not just learning this for yourself. You're going to get it and lose it right away. Your brain main focus, you think, is to retain things. No, is to keep things out, or else you go crazy. Guys, our job, look, everything I always tell my team forever, you want to master something, teach it, right, Victor? How long have I been saying that? Since you met, guys, because I mastered this, I promise you. So you got to be thinking like, okay, got to do some movements, got to be focused. Man, how can I teach this? How can I'm going to teach this to Steven. I'm going to teach this to Victor. I got to learn this. And guys, it sticks in your head more. Same thing with exams. I can take any exam and pass it because I know how to use this now. I went from the worst test taker to the absolute best. Why? Mindset and know how to use this. So utilize this. What John is showing you right now, guys, you can impact thousands of people's lives and make millions of dollars for doing what's right. You need to understand that the industry out there, they sell life insurance to make a commission. We sell life insurance to correct an injustice and really protect families. There's a difference. Why are we bigger than number 2, number 3, and number 4 company combined? They're money driven. We're purpose driven. There's a huge difference, guys, and you need to know that. Okay, I'm telling you, chase greatness. Guess what? Money will start chasing you. Do what's right. So John, phenomenal job. Keep going. But guys, get your movement going. Move a little bit. Steven, I want to see you move, bro. I'm watching you. All right, let's go. Let's go. And hey, how can I teach this? Who am I going to teach this to? All right, be thinking of that person that matters to you. Who needs to see this? Okay, go for it, John. Oh, you got to unmute yourself again. Sorry, because we echo.
So just know that, God, this is as tough as it gets, man. We're talking about a subject no one understands. No one understands. The agents selling it don't understand it. I'm going to tell you a story in a moment that proves that, all right? So this is hard, I know. But man, when you get it, no one can stop you. You're completely, because you know the entire industry is full of it. They're running around lying, and you know it. It's not your hoping. It's not your wishing. It's not because your RVP said so. It's because you know, right? So let's take a look at now this next piece. So when I get indexed UL or UL, let's talk about index for a moment. When I get that, I have to go in and I want to understand, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? I get the contract, I look at it, I go, holy crap, look at all this crap. What am I looking at, right? So the first thing I want to start to look at is, what are we paying into the plan? That's this faucet. I learned this presentation, I don't know, it was about 1985, okay? 1985, from a guy named Ollie Horseman. He was like our expert. He taught me to draw a bucket and a faucet, right? And then I could understand universal life. So first thing we've got is we got the premium faucet, all right? That's where, so you're going to send your money to the company. Now you'll notice these little things here. These are leaks. You'll see them. These are leaks in the faucet. This is money that comes out of the faucet before the money gets into the savings. The bucket is the savings, okay? So here we go. So what's coming out of the faucet? We have admin fees and you have policy fees. 2 things: admin fees, expense fees, tax fees, policy fees. There's fees that come out before the money gets into the savings. Now right there, every time I do this, I say, now listen, I want you to understand. See that policy fee? We got them too. Everybody's got policy fees. So I don't want you to misunderstand. Everybody's got policy fees. But some of these companies have a lot more fees, all right? Then there's the top edge of this bucket is the death benefit, and it's either an A or B. Remember I talked about A or B. And then we have the how the money, once it gets into the bucket, how is it being credited earnings? So it's either an index, like IUL, or it's an interest rate, like UL, or it's in like mutual funds, investments like VUL. Okay? Then every month the insurance company comes and pulls a little bit of money out of the savings to buy term insurance. That's what they're doing. So they're pulling out every month enough, they're going to buy monthly renewable term. So when you get one of these policies and you look at it, you're going to see a table in there, guaranteed maximum cost of insurance table. That's what's going to be in the policy. And it's going to tell you how much the insurance costs. So you can go in and look in the policy and see at age 36, it was 92 cents a thousand. At age 41, it was $256 a thousand. By age 61, it was $14 a thousand. That's the guaranteed worst case scenario. The company has the right to charge up to that. I don't beat it on that. I beat it on the current. I want to go to the company. We call the company, or we get, I'm sorry that there's a typo there. We go to the company and we get the current cost of insurance and what they intend to charge in the future. And you can always see that if you look at the hypothetical or the basic illustration that they gave the client when the policy was purchased. That's where it's going to have it. It's going to have a worst case, it's going to have a current, and it's going to have a midpoint, like something. But it's available. Now, if they don't have that, you can call the company and you can ask, all right? So in addition to this, let me give you a couple more. So in addition to this, so I wrote all this out for the client. If this was my client, I'd say, look, you're paying $750 a month, but we got a 0.05 per thousand charge, a 2% premium charge. That's $90 a month, plus a $750 a month. You've only, of your $750, only $652 is getting into the account. So immediately off the top, that's a big sales fee, And we got an option A here of $1.5 million is the face amount. It's an option A. What does that mean? That means the cash value is part of the death benefit. What does that mean? That means when the company goes to pull money out of this savings to buy insurance for the month. Sorry, let me go back. When the insurance company goes to pull money out for the month, it looks and says, okay, this guy or gal is $1.5 million death benefit. Okay? Let's say they've already got, I'm going to use this, they've got $10,000 already saved in the policy, in the bottom of the bucket. So when we go to buy insurance, we only have to buy $1,490,000 this month, because if he dies, the family gets the $1,490,000 plus the $10,000 cash value that he's got. So what happens is, so that's how that math works there. That's how, now on an option B, where the death benefit goes up, they're buying $1.5 million every month, every year, for years, okay? Plus this has surrender charges. So that's how it works. That's what's going on. So you can go at age 41 and see what the insurance costs, and you can look at what are the fees and expenses and the policy fee, add it together, and that's the term cost that they're paying now, and it goes up every year. You can show it's annual renewable term. You take the fees, the policy fee, the expenses, the cost of insurance, you add it together, and that's their term cost. Okay? And the rest goes into an investment. And you can run a basic illustration on our software, or if you're securities licensed, you can run a hypothetical and show them how much you could buy term insurance with us, and by investing the difference in a Roth IRA, what's going to happen. And that's what every person that you ever meet this easy. If they've got a 401k at work, they should always save up to the match. They get a deduction and they get free money. Okay? Government helps and free money. We don't have that. Okay? Once they've got all the free money, everything else should go into a Roth IRA. So until they fully funded their retirement plans with the free money and Roth IRAs, they should never even for 1 second look at an index UL contract. Makes 0 sense. Zero. Because the Roth IRA money grows tax-free. If you die, the family gets it and the insurance. And you can always get money out up to what you put into a Roth IRA. I'll show you that in a moment, all right? So that's how this works. That's the graphic. And so when I see this, I can just say, look, you could buy the insurance for this. You can have your money invested. Let me show you the hypothetical, and that's the end of it. The math wins every single time. So let's look at the downfall of indexed UL. A couple things. Big is the money's not in the index. So there are no dividends in it. Indexes don't pay dividends. So the client doesn't have the benefit of the dividends being reinvested. They cap the growth. In other words, they say you can make up to 9% or 10% or 14%, whatever their number is, and everything over and above that we keep. Okay? There's high cost to these. The administrative fees eat up a lot of the money going in. High fees and expenses. And the living benefits, which a lot of people are buying these plans on now, are ridiculous. They're expensive, number one, and number two, they don't work the way the client thinks they work. And we're going to have a conversation in a moment about negotiated living benefits and defined living benefits. We'll talk about that in a moment. So this is all my studies that I've been doing, reading these contracts and understanding, all right? So here's an example of an IUL where they're going to give the client a chance to pick what index they want or what investment option. You can see there's all sorts of options and how they participate and what the cap is, all right? And then, so why do the clients take these? They like the idea of the tax-deferred growth. They love the idea that they could pull money out as a loan at the end, but we can achieve this and give them way more money with options like Roth IRAs and annuities when that's appropriate, okay? They sell Be Your Own Banker. Be Your Own Banker is a new one that you're hearing about, where you could borrow money from your policy, pay it back to yourself instead of borrowing money from the bank and paying the bank back with interest. You just pay it back to yourself. So they got that all in there. Once again, the math doesn't work, but they make it sound like it works, okay? So what's the big problem with indexed UL? Money's not invested in an actual index. There are no dividends, and the gains are capped, and the insurance costs are high with high fees, and the fees could go up to the maximum, and you're out of control of that. And once you're in it for the investment, you're also in it for the insurance. So one of the things they'll show is, hey, in 2000 the market was down, 2001 market down, 2002 market down. So that year you're not gonna have down. This is what they're saying to their clients. 2008 market down, look, you got zero. Down 0.73, you got zero. Down 6, you got zero. So in the good years, but look at the good years, and I'll show you that in a moment. Here in 19, 28%, they only got 9. 11%, they got 9. 29%, they only got 9. They don't ever talk about how the cap affects things. And see, here's what you want to know. If you go into our How Money Works book that we have, and you really take the time to understand DCA, dollar cost averaging, and this example I'm going to show you, you'll understand the ripoff really of IUL and how deceptive it is. They're selling on the fears that you won't lose money, so this is great. It protects you. That's fear selling, and they say the cap is high, so you don't have the bad, but you get the good. But they never really the reality of how you get wealthy is you accumulate money over time by investing monthly long range, or every other week long range, or every week long range. Okay, so this example shows investor A invested in 100 a month, and investor B invested in 100 a month. And you look at this; they both started. It was 10. This isn't a mutual fund, and it started at $10 a share. And by the end of this, investor A here invested. By the end, it was $20 a share, so it got more expensive. Investor B started at 10, went down to 2, went back to 10. So they got back to where they started. So if you were investing 100 a month, and which one would have more money? So if you were investing 100 a month, who would have more money? Well, most people are going to say the investor A has more money because it was $10 a share, now it's $20 a share. But when you go to the next piece of this, it shows that investor A bought 10 shares, then bought 8 shares, then 7, then 6, then 5, then 5. They had 42 shares. They sold that at $20 a share. Investor B, it went down, down, down. They accumulated 50 shares in month 4. Then it came back to where it started. Investor B had 126 shares. Well, 42 shares at $100 each ended up being $845, but this $600 investment at 125 shares at $10 a share is $1,259. So for 42 share, right? So y'all see that. So so here's the thing. The down market is what you want if you're accumulating money. Right now, guys, you should be calling all of your clients. This is when they should be putting money in. When the fear's at its highest is when people should be investing. So this just shows all that I showed it to you earlier, all the good years that were missed because of the caps. All the good years. So last piece, 3 minutes. What are living benefits? Okay, so they sell this indexed UL with these living benefits.
If you need to go a little bit longer, it's okay, John.
Okay, we're almost done, but I really want to make my points with this living benefits because I think this is the greatest example of abuse ever. I'm going to tell you a great story at the end. So in these living benefits, they say, look, these policies are great because there's these nursing home benefits. If you go into a nursing home, or if you get critically ill, there's money available with this policy. or if you have to go into a long-term care facility, you need income because you need nurses to come take care of you at home. There's long-term care. This policy, you don't have to die to win here. It's great. So I remember when I first saw these contracts, I called our home office and I started asking, David Chadwick, who was the president of the insurance. I said, David, these companies are really selling these living benefits like they're the greatest thing in the world. Why don't we have a term plan like that? Okay? Let's have that. And they said, well, John, we priced all this out, and to give a real defined benefit, it's too expensive. These benefits they're giving aren't defined. They're not like our terminal illness benefit rider. That's defined. That says you can get 40% of the face amount out in advance if you're terminally ill. If you have waiver of premium, you can get 70% out of your face amount in advance. So if you've got $1 million policy, I think you can get up to, I think it's maybe, there's a limit. I think it's $400,000. But you can get a lot of money out of your policy defined. And the cost is defined, and the benefit is defined. You just have to prove that you're terminally ill, all right? Well, these benefits don't work that way. They're negotiated. These benefits are negotiated. And so you've got accelerated benefits like terminal illness, chronic illness, critical injury. So I met a lady recently. So it says, with the large print giveth, the small print taketh away. And so let's just do this and I'll tell the story. Defined benefit or negotiated. So all you need to remember when you get UL, and by the way, I've been destroying indexed UL with this piece first. Because then when I get to the numbers, they don't want it anymore. So I said, what does it mean that you've got these riders here? Like I ask them, so what are all these riders that you've got? What does that mean? How do they pay out? So if you use the benefit, what happens to the face amount? Do you receive a dollar for dollar benefit? Like if you've got a $500,000 policy and you get critically ill, how much of that $500 can you get? Well, here's what's happened. How often do clients really use the benefit that have a claim? That's another interesting question, all right? So let's look at it. The benefit pays while you're still living. It's defined or negotiated. Let's see. I'm not. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. So here's IULs. Okay, here's the companies that sell them. And I'm just going to give you a quick example. All right, so let me. Okay, I'm going to unshare for a minute. We're going to come back. Okay, let me tell you a story. So I have an agent. One of my guys is recruiting a lady who's in Arizona, and she was about 60 years old. And he finds out in the interview that she has an indexed UL. He also finds out she's licensed. She was with WFG selling, and she sold herself I don't know if it was Transamerica, it was one of their plans. She sold herself a policy. So when you bought this, why did you buy it? Was it for the savings? Was it for the protection for your family, or was it for a combination of both? She said, I actually bought it for the living benefits. I don't really no, there's no one that needs the money if I die, and I guess the savings is good, but I really bought it for the living benefits. I said, and you bought this from yourself? She said, yeah, I bought it from myself. So you got the commission, so you were incented to do that. I get it. How many other people did you sell this to? And she said, nobody. I quit before, but I kept it, all these years. I said, well, how does the living benefits work? Like, if you've got this $500,000 policy, she was paying $600 a month. Actually, it was $250 was the face amount, paying $600 a month. I said, so why? So how much of the $250 can you get if you get a critical illness, or you have a heart attack, or how does it work? And she said, well, I think I get up close to the $250, I can get a lot. I said, so let me just explain this to you, and what I want to do is I want to call with you to the company and have them explain how it's calculated, because my experience, and I don't know, maybe yours is different, but my experience says that it's a negotiated benefit, meaning that if you have a claim, you've got to go to the company, you've got to fill out paperwork, you've got to file a claim, you've got to add doctor's medical reports, then the claim goes to an underwriting department, a claims department, and then they negotiate or settle with you and tell you what benefit they're going to give you. That's how it works. And she said, oh no, it doesn't, no way it works that way. I said, well, all the ones I've ever seen do. Maybe this is different, but let me ask you a question before we call. If you find out that it works that way, how will you feel about what you've done? Okay? So if you find out that it did work that way, that I described it, how will you feel? She said, well, I'll feel really mad about because I had to really struggle a lot to pay that $600 a month. And I'll feel very fortunate that I met you and that you're explaining it to me now. And I would feel like I should tell everybody about this because I didn't know. That's how I would feel. I said, all right, let's call. So we get on the phone. So we get to the first lady, and I'm asking her about the living benefit. I asked her about all the others. We got all the numbers because I showed this lady now the faucet, the bucket, the cost of insurance, the AB option. I showed her that. So now she understands the math. Now we ask the lady to confirm the math. She confirms the math. And I said, now, on the living benefits, can you explain how a claim is made? She says, oh, yeah, you fill out a claims form, and then it goes to our underwriting department, and then the medical report gets added, and then a benefit department will call and negotiate an amount, a settlement. So, well, what's the settlement? Like, how much could they expect to get? And she says, oh, I don't know. No one's ever asked that question. I said, well, like, about how much could she get? Like, what if it really, like, how? She says, well, let's call the people who do it. So she calls the claims department, and she gets this manager this woman on the phone, who's now in the claims department, and I start asking her these questions. By the way, when you call as an agent like we are, and you're helping the client gives you permission to talk to the company. That's the first thing the client does. Is she says, this is a friend of mine. They're helping me with my money. I'd like them to ask some questions on my behalf. Okay? Now, if the company ever asks you, are you a licensed agent? If you are, then the answer is yes, I am. Oh, you tell the truth. Yes, I am. And I'm helping so I have an understanding, but I'm just trying to understand it. Now, you don't say, yeah, I am, and I think this is a bunch of crap, this policy sucks, and you've ripped them off. I don't say that, okay? I say, yes, I am, and I'm trying to help them understand what they own. We're helping them with their finances. I want to see the value of the plan. I almost make it sound like we may just leave it in force if it's good, right? The lady in the claims department, I got down, I said, so how's this? She says, well, it's always different, and there's not like a specific amount. And how about for my client who's paying $600 a month? What would it be? And she says, well, I can't really say. I say, so let me understand. Would you buy something and pay $600 a month for it for a benefit that you don't really understand? Would you do that? I asked her, and she kind of giggled. She says, I wouldn't do that. I said, well, our client doesn't understand it, and you haven't been able to explain it to us. So we need you to help us, and we need you to get some information together so we understand how it works, all right? It was exactly how I explained it. So we get off the phone. She's in the midst of canceling that plan now. We recruited her. She's working with us, and she's going to start telling everybody about it. Now, folks, as I close out, I'm going to close with one last piece, and it's really, really important that you all understand that we have a brochure that's probably the most important brochure that any of you will use, and it's a Roth IRA brochure. Now, I actually created this because we started getting into arguments about how do you get your money out of a Roth IRA. In the office, one day we had this debate, and no one knew the answer. And I had learned the answer actually from Susie Orman. I normally don't like to listen to Susie Orman, although her advice is good. But she said the greatest emergency fund a young person could ever have is the Roth IRA. And I listened up, and she said the reason for that is every dime you put in a Roth IRA, you can get out for any reason. So the cost basis, the amount you put in, is always available for any reason. It's the gains that must stay there and meet the qualified distribution rules. So this is unbelievable. So I said, where's a brochure that says that? I went to our home office. I went to Franklin Town. No one had a brochure. So I said, we need a brochure. So this is a brochure that we developed. It's, a cost item. You could use it. And basically, it's going to talk about the benefits of a Roth IRA. Contributions are made after tax dollars. They're non-deductible. Able to be withdrawn at any time, tax and penalty free. See this? Contributions in writing from the company in a document reviewed by, all IRS laws. You can take out anything you put in. By the way, no one knows that. Go start asking people the question, how do you get your money out of a Roth IRA if you aren't 59 and a half? And no one will tell you. They can't tell you, okay? qualified distributions. And then there's qualified distributions. That's for the money, the gains. There's no age restrictions. There's no required minimum distribution. So you don't have to start taking the money at 72. And your family inherits Roth IRAs with no income tax. They inherit Roth IRAs tax-free. So it's all. So then we just wrote down the benefits verse 6,000. What you could do. It's all in there. Once again, I just want you all to understand it. And then we put a hypo in there, a hypothetical, like what Mario's got in his orientation. Okay, but the numbers are exactly accurate in this one. Okay, Mario, I know we're gonna get that fixed. $500 a month. I didn't mean to tease you, but that was that great example, but it was a little off. Okay, but the idea is mind-boggling. That's what I love about the orientation is there's a crusade, and then there's the answer, and there's the protective wrapper, and that's all this is. If you put $500 a month in over 30 years, you're going to accumulate $1 million. If you started taking 5% annually for the next 30 years, you would take out $2.5 million tax-free, and the account values were $2.5 million. So when you die, you put in $1 million, you took out $2.5 million, and when you died, you left your family $2.5 million. Is that the greatest thing in the world? That's what we market, you all. That's the greatest product in the world. And when you run a real hypothetical and do it, the numbers are way more mind-boggling. That's what we could get approved, okay? Through legal, all right? So, y'all, kind of in closing, just understand a couple things. One, all life insurance is term insurance. The question is, where do you want to save your money? Number two, what does the insurance company do with your money when they get it? And what is the purpose of a life insurance company? Is it for profit or not for profit? For profit. So what's the purpose? It's to make money. So how are they going to take your money and give you a better deal than they get? They can't. So we're going to teach you how to beat them at their own game. We're going to buy the insurance while you need it. We're going to help you save and accumulate money so that someday you'll have enough money that you won't even need life insurance. You'll be completely self-insured with your own money. Does that make sense? Okay? And last but not least, when you bought it, did you buy it for the protection? Did you buy it for the savings? Or did you buy it for a combination of both? And once they give you that information, then you can easily destroy it in any way that you need to. And then the last piece of this is we have a great basic illustration in our software. Most of you are not. I'm not going to get into it with you today. Ask your VP. But that basic illustration allows you to load the premium in. It'll take the premium for the term for us out. It'll show the invested difference, and you can run it at 3, 6, and 9. And that basic illustration is a great, simple way that you could show them in, some real numbers and math behind why buy term and invested difference will always beat what they're doing. So, Mario, I hope this has been helpful for you. I'll take any questions if you got. I have a few minutes. So,
John, I would love that. Let me mute you really quick because it echoes every time, and then you can unmute yourself when it's time. So, I would love that we continue this training, John, and we do that illustration. Like, hey, here's an example on this actual policy. This is what you do, and this is how we do it. I think that would be an absolute game changer. And guys, you need to understand that mastering this game over, it's going to give you a confidence that you can talk to anybody. Because guys, did you see what he showed you? And guys, that for every one policy, there's like 40 plus of these policies being sold out there. Just like we're recruiting new agents and selling them on the dream to own their own business, they're doing the same thing. The only problem is they don't even know what they're selling. They're great people. Before, John, I used to be like, man, those guys are bad people, blah, blah, blah. I was just so mad because my dad got taken advantage of. And I was just so angry, I was blind. But no, I got to know some of these people. They're some of our agents. We just had Billy Garcia. You got to meet John. You got to meet Billy Garcia. I think you know of him and Murr. They're my family. He owned a farmer's agency. You know what they told him? If he sells Index Universal Life, whole life, 100% commission. If he sells term, 40% commission. And they made him feel like, dude, you're renting or buying. You're hurting the client. You need to do what's best for the client. We're going to pay you. So Billy has a good heart, and he sold that policy to himself. He sold it to his brother. He sold it to his mama. He sold it to his dad. He sold it to his best clients, thinking he was doing the best job for them because that's all he knew. See, guys, don't be so aggressive like I was in the beginning with people. Ask questions. John is teaching you how to be a professional and asking questions, and don't assume they're just a bad person, because they're not. You meet Billy Garcia, he's the biggest crusader, and he doesn't feel that way against other agents. Now, there's some agents that don't care, like, hey, bro, it's legal. They should have read the contract. It is what it is. Now, those guys, there's a special place in hell for people like that. They're intentionally ripping off people. I'm not okay with that. Those are our mamas out there. Those are our grandmothers out there. Those are our grandparents. People that are working so darn hard, especially with inflation going up, gas prices going up, and they're sacrificing so much to keep their policy in place because they were sold something that is not true. Lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, almost every single year on how they mislead people. Why doesn't the government do something about it? Right? Why? Guys, think about this. Because it makes so much money. This is not $1 million industry. This is not $1 billion industry. This is $1 trillion industry. You understand that smoking, we all know if you smoke, you got to cut that out. But we know that smoking kills people. The freaking label tells you, hey, you smoke this, you're gonna get cancer. It's on the label. It even shows people like dying of cancer. It's unbelievable on the label. If it's killing people, think about it. Why does the government let us consume that? Because it makes what, guys? Put it on the chat. What does it make? A lot of what, guys? Put on the chat. It makes money. It makes money. Why does United States let these companies continue to do that? Because it makes a lot of money. And when you make a lot of money, you pay a lot of what, guys? Put it on the chat. Let's see, when you make a lot of money, you have to pay a lot of what? Taxes. As bad as it sounds, guys, we have a bigger crusade than ever before. So when they tell you, oh, that thing, oh, you joined one of that pyramid thing. Guys, you know why you back down? Because you don't know your purpose. You think you're here to sell insurance. No. You're here for a bigger purpose. And it's unfortunately that small-minded people, guess what? They sell you on, oh, no, come on, man. What do you think, you're better? They sell you on living on their lifestyle and settling instead of listening to John Lavin, that's a multi-millionaire, that's produced millionaires. Instead of listening to Franny and I that have produced millionaires. Guys, think about this. We've helped so many people in the company become $1 million earners. It's great. It's time for us to produce our own. I'm just telling you. Who's going to be it? Look, my goal, look, I'm young enough. I'm only 36 years young. All right. My girl's 21 years. Hey, it's unbelievable. She's reversing age, guys. Money helps. Unbelievable. My girl looks better and better. It's glow up, man. I'm just telling you. But then, let me tell you something, guys. This is something unbelievable. Franny and I ain't stopping until we get $100 million earners in our team. And then I'll consider, you know what, guys? I'm gonna hang it up. But right now, we got work to do. And man, John, thank you for partnering up with us. Man, you fired my butt up. I'm not gonna do any questions and answers because I want you back. I want you back because this was phenomenal. But you guys gotta understand what this man just laid on you right now is the goose that lays the golden eggs. Are you gonna study this? Or are you like, oh, you know, when I get a chance? That's why you are where you're at. You know what I would do? I would watch this over and over again, take notes, train our team. Let's master this thing and become unstoppable. That's the difference. That little difference. Oh, that was a good training. And you go out with your day like, no, I'm going to master this. Coach Mario's going to call me to train on this because I mastered it. I'm recruiting agents. They're like, whoa, I didn't know it worked this way. Now they're on my team. Coach Mario's going to have to like, dude, Nelly, how are you recruiting so many agents out there? You know why, Coach? Because I was one of those agents. Nelly was working, selling this also. And Nelly is Nelly, if you can unmute yourself, she was selling this. She didn't know any better, John. Right, Nelly?
I didn't know they don't teach you all of this.
Nelly, you look so nice. How could you sell all that? No, they don't teach you. They don't. They actually believe it's right. I mean, they never get down in the weeds.
Hey, John, at one point, at one point, you were in that industry also, right? At one point, you were in there and you found out, like, wait a minute, it's not how this works, correct? Oops, sorry, I muted you by accident. I apologize.
So when Art Williams left the company, this was back in 1990, I was silly enough to leave the company. We started our own Buy Term and Invest the Difference company. So this was like the company, like WFG started, there was another company, there's groups that started. So I was just so pissed and mad that Art had left and didn't seem like the company was listening, and I went out and I got contracts to do Buy Term and Invest the Difference. But once you are contracting out with these other companies, they start pounding on you on UL and how good it is and how it works. And so I'd be in the boardrooms, we were negotiating contracts and doing things, or in trainings, and they're just pushing this product. So so that's where I got to learn. I got to ask questions. I saw their view of it, how they were looking at it from a boardroom, how profitable it was, right? And I'll never get the guy telling me, he says, look, if the agents will sell it and the clients will buy it, we'll design it. That's it. So that's it. So that's their business. So now the next time we get together, Mario, we're going to get into dividends a little bit, because that's a whole ripoff unto itself, and whole life policy people have to understand that. And we can get into like some basic illustrations and how we would destroy it. Like, so we'll take some policies. I've got a lot of sample policies, and we could do that.
Ooh,
all right.
I love that.
As long as you'll do an orientation for me that I could have, that's for our new people, and I'll advertise and market, and your folks can jump on also. We'll do an orientation that's like a Zoom orientation to put protective wrappers. Because if people are protected and they've got a dream and a goal and a coach and a mentor, and they understand and have knowledge, game over.
Absolutely. Great job, John. You totally delivered, man. Totally delivered. I have a crusade in me more than ever right now to talk to more people, because I know there's Nelly Cervantes out there. There are superstars, by the way, man. This young lady is an absolute superstar, already on her way to make $300,000, brand new RVP, like superstar. Her and her future husband, he hasn't stepped up yet, just to put it out there. But so I believe it or not, she's still single. It's crazy. I don't know how, but it's all good. But think about this, guys. Unbelievable what her and Raul are doing is unbelievable, and they come from that industry. They didn't know any better. So don't be so quick to like, oh, you're a bad person, blah, blah, blah. No. Don't. Guys, you can be killing your blessing having Raul and Nelly in your team. That totally revolutionized Manny and Karina's business. You guys follow me? This is huge. And look, guys, don't do that. Don't do that. And you know what? Shout out to Manny and Karina. They're doing a phenomenal job. Nothing to discredit them. Like, Nelly and Raul would not be where they're at if it wasn't for the leadership of Manny and Karina too. That's what a great partnership is. They sharpen each other. They get each other better. But guys, we're going to close out with recognition. John, thank you so much. You totally delivered, my brother. Liz, we can stop the recording. And let's go with this. Phenomenal. Guys, let's go.
See you all.
Stopped.
For some superstars. Thank you so much, John. Give it up for John, guys. Wow, phenomenal. Look at the chats blowing up. Just of gratitude. Thank you so much, John. And we're going to set that up today on when the next training is going on, because this is so darn good. We need to get you back again. And I'm ready to do that new orientation class and let it rip, John. So let's revise, guys. We are going to master this. It's going to be John Lavin. It's going to be Howard Lashner, and it's going to be me. I'm going to do the presentation, but they're going to tailor the presentation to make it the most powerful presentation. I'm putting armor on them. So I'm presenting it because I'm the craziest out of the three, but these guys are the brains. So like, Mario, say this, show this, boom. It's gonna be unbelievable. So guys, be ready for that. We're working on that right now as we speak, actually. So I'm ready for that. So Johnny, let's recognize these absolute superstars that are after right now.
Woo, let's go, man. What a powerful training. What a powerful training. We got your recognition for the week.
Oh, even Hendrix is fired up back there. Let's go, Hendrix. Let me see my nephew. Hendrix even got himself a new haircut. He's like, I want to look like Uncle Tony. Let's go.
It's okay,
Hendrix.
Papa. Oh, you got
All right,
shot.
go for it, Johnny.
All right, so here's your personal challenge scoreboard for unlicensed teammates. Starting off with Robert Jackson, representing United One. Look at this, United One just took over this week. Then we got Jaleel Herrera, also from United One, and Jacob Herrera from United One. Your MVP is Jaleel Herrera with 4,300, representing United One. Awesome job, Jaleel Herrera. Awesome job, United One.
Great job. That's domination right there.
Domination. And here's your personal challenge scoreboard for future RVPs. We got Alexis Narcissus representing Elite Nation. We got Mark Medrano representing United One. And we got Summer and Anthony representing United One. And your MVP is Alexis Narcissus with 8,963 representing Elite Nation. Awesome job.
Great job, Alexis.
And here's your team challenge scoreboard for your future RVPs. Starting off with Mark Medrano representing United One, Elena Romero representing United One, and of course you got Rami Abir Cancel representing United One. Absolute United One takeover. But your MVP team is Rami and Abir Cancel with 27,524. Let's go. And here's your personal challenge scoreboard for your RVPs. These are your RVPs leading from the front. And you got the king and queen of the Arizona hierarchy, representing the Arizona base, Mario and Franny Arizona. Leaders of Team No Limit, Juan and Cindy Jimenez. And leader of Team Proximity, Pedro Gonzalez. And your MVP is Pedro Natastelli Gonzalez with 7,568. That's how you lead from the front. Let's go. And here's your team challenge scoreboard for your RVPs. These are your top teams in the hierarchy. Starting off with Elite Nation being led by Billy and Mer Garcia. Then we got the Arizona Base Shop led by Mario and Franny Arizona. And of course we got United One led by Manny and Karina Masood. And your MVP team is Manny and Karina Masood. United's One with 49,974. Let's go, United One.
Dude, total domination this week from United One. Congratulations to all the leaders that stepped up and did it, guys. Congratulations. And man, United One leading the way in the base shop this week. Phenomenal job. Guys, thank you so much for being on for training. Guys, let's let it rip. Let's get after it. Arizona Base Shop, we are meeting up right now, so be ready to get on just for a quick regroup. Love you guys. Let's get it done. See you guys.